My name is Joe Loya, born and raised here in El Paso, Texas, and I had a pretty good childhood, but unfortunately, I grew up in the in a bad time and just started hanging around with the wrong crowd. Started getting into wrong things late '80s, early '90s. Gangster rap was all about, and things were getting really messy in the inner cities. And my girlfriend at the time got pregnant, and that's when light bulb went off in my head and said, you know what? I mean, quite honestly, I told myself, I said, I'm going to do time for the government, one way or the other. I mean, it was a sad fact. I mean, the route, the destination I was headed, it was just not good. And so I decided, I might as well get paid for it. And so I went over to the recruiters and said, hey, I need to get out of here. And so it's not the G.I. Joe story, but it's definitely got me out of where I was headed to. And so that's why I enlisted into the Navy. I grew up in the Lower Valley. My early childhood, my mom worked, so I was pretty much raised by my grandma. And then after that, my mom stopped working, so she moved me back to the school where I belonged to based off of where we lived. Unfortunately, come the summer between 6th grade and 7th grade, that's when things just took a wrong turn. Again, in the late 80s, gangs were coming up and it was just kicking off, and we decided to start our own. And my middle school was just not productive at all. And then of course high school was just a little bit more of the same, unfortunately. March 13th, if I'm not mistaken correctly, but March 13th, 1995. Went up to, got sent out to Great Mistakes. Great Lakes, Illinois, outside of Chicago, north of Chicago. And as soon as you step off that bus, I mean, they're yelling at you. Go here, go there, and shut up, this and that. And boot camp's something else. I mean, I don't know how it is now, but back then, we didn't sleep for like the first 3 days, I believe. I mean, we were sleeping on standing up, I mean, it was crazy. Worst thing that happened in the Navy is the fact that I was still hard-headed. And so for the personnel men rate, it was 3 years shore duty, 5 years sea duty. And so I got shore duty first, and so my next orders were going to be for sea, and 5 years of sea duty did not sound appealing to me, and I was like, you know what, I'm out of here. Bye, see ya, I'm gone. This award here is it's the Blue Jacket of the Quarter award. It was given to me in 1997, and it's basically it's honoring anyone in the command E5 and below, and so that was one of the awards that I won while in command at the Enlisted Personnel Management Center in New Orleans. I got out of the military in March of '98, and in June of '98, my wife passed away, and we were in a car accident together, and she passed away. I was severely injured, but I'm still here, and so that really messed me up. That led me down a wrong path. After the military, for a couple of years, I was, dad number one. My kids were 3 and 1 year old, and I was working, taking them to daycare, providing, doing everything that a father's supposed to do. But then I never dealt with the grieving process. Never dealt with it, and I just tried to suppress it, and that did not work. And I just slowly and gradually just picked up the bottle, and that was my solution. My wife passed away on June 11th, 1998, and on June 11th, 2015, is when I got handcuffs put on my wrist, and I was led into jail, and I was sentenced to go to prison, for DWIs. I could have got a longer sentence. I was not given a long sentence. It was just enough to little wake-up call. And in November of 2015, I hit a unit in the prison system, knee deep in racial tensions, and I'm crying out to God. I'm like, seriously, I'm here for a DWIs. I'm here for, and I mean, I'm not no murderer. So I'm all like, man, I do not want to be in a race riot. And my first granddaughter was about to be born in December. I'm crying out to God, and that's when I heard His voice, and He's like, "Can you hear me now?" Yep, and I did. And since then, it's been a different man. Every prison unit has a dorm that they probably have different names, but it's a faith-based dorm. So a lot of people like to call it the God Pod or whatever have you. In there, I was able to strengthen my walk. I was already seeing another lady. We had already plans to get married when I got out. I told her, in the 2 years that I was incarcerated, I told her adamantly, I'm like, you know what? I know you met me as a functioning alcoholic, but I'm coming out a different man. And so in 2017, when I was released, I came out a completely different man. I was a new creation. Now, fast forward to today, I love my title as grandpa. And so my two older kids from my first wife, they have their own pair. They have their own daughter and their own son. And so I have 4 grandkids right now, and 1 7, 1 6, 6, and the little one's about to turn 2 in a couple of weeks. So that's my new favorite title, Papa Joe. It's gonna sound cliche, because I'm sure everyone's heard them, but it's as simple as letting go and let God. I mean, we as humans, we want to control, and so even when we pray, God, give me this $1 million that I want. That everything's about me. There's too many eyes in our conversations. A lot of us, many of us, unfortunately, we tend to use God as that get out of jail free card from Monopoly, and that's not what that's not what He's for. That's not what He's there, to do. He loves the fact that we trust Him and we love Him, but not just in those times. We need to build that relationship with Him, because without that, my life is a living testament that it's an empty life. I mean, I right now, the position that I am in right now, financially, I have never done better in my life. This past year that just passed, I doubled my salary that I had at my best job ever. And as an entrepreneur, that just it's a testament to Him. I put Him first, and He makes it happen. He provides. And so again, it's gonna sound cliche, but the words of wisdom would be to let go and let God.